We don't have much longer to wait until patch 6.2 for Final Fantasy XIV drops. What's up, guys? My name is Stout, and I wanted to go over some of the stuff I'm most excited about this upcoming patch, because we just had the live letters from the development team for Final Fantasy XIV, and they gave us a lot of new information to dig through. And I've seen a lot of discourse on Twitter, people talking about content drought, and while that is true, I think if you're looking for something to do in the game, there's probably one or two things in this upcoming patch that are going to be of interest to you. So let's take a look. Now, there is a patch 6.18 that will be coming in the first week of July, but that's just with data center travel and another few small changes. The big stuff is going to come in 6.2, which will be launching sometime in August, is what we're looking at. Now, we don't have a specific date. It's probably going to be late August based on what they said in the live letter. Patch 6.2 is going to be called Buried Memory. This is a build off of Newfound Adventure, which was 6.1, and the main story quest is going to be picking up where that story left off. They gave us a couple of screenshots of things that we can expect. Two in particular, the second one for me by far is the most interesting, which is we're seeing Xenos' Reaper Voidsent avatar once again. Now, we knew just from 6.1 that this was going to be a somewhat important character in the remaining patches for this expansion, you know, as the party looks for ways to travel to the 13th in search for Azdaia, which is Vitra's brood sister, as well as other things. We also got a teaser for what the upcoming dungeon is going to be. Now, the name for this dungeon is the Fell Court of Troya. Now, Troya is a callback to Final Fantasy IV. This was one of the kingdoms from that game where the Earth Crystal was housed. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any direct correlation when it comes to that Troya and this Troya. Now, we also know there's going to be a new series of trial fights that is going to begin, but they didn't want to tell us what that is going to be. Now, if I had to venture a guess, it's got to be one of those four fiends that we caught a glimpse of in one cutscene in 6.1. These are based off of the four fiends from Final Fantasy IV. Now, if they go in the order from that game, we'll be fighting Skarmillion first, but we'll just have to see who ends up coming up. But I bet that is who we're going to be taking on in this trial series. 6.1 will also be the continuation of the Pandemonium Raid series, which does have its own somewhat relevant story. You'll remember this is when we travel back to another undisclosed time in Elpis to assist the character of Themis going through the facility known as Pandemonium, where dangerous ancient creations are kept but not destroyed. So we're going to be getting some more nuggets of story that go along with that, which are revealing potentially some new information about some of the ancients and convocation members that we've encountered before. So if you're looking for the continuation of that story as well as an expansion to Savage tier rating, that is coming soon. If you're not caught up on the Hildebrand stories, you have to get caught up at this point. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're gonna want that relic weapon for the Endwalker expansion, you're gonna have to do it, because the developers unveiled that Hildebrand is directly going to tie in to getting that relic. Now, this quest series doesn't take very long, especially if the humor's not your cup of tea, you can skip the cutscenes, but you are gonna have to do the series of quests in order to unlock what's gonna eventually begin the relic series. I'm sure there's going to be some other grinding associated with that, but this is just a heads up that if you've been avoiding Hildebrand, you're like, man, this stuff is cringe, I don't like it, you're going to have to do it if you want that relic, so just power through. This is gonna seem like not such a big deal for some people, but it is for me, because I'm a glamourholic. I hang on to way too much stuff. I'm a pack rat. Glamour chest capacity is doubling. It's going from 400 to 800. Now, some of you are probably thinking, I'll fill that up super fast, and I know I will too. But man, I'm just excited to be able to have more stuff, more costumes, more outfits tucked away. Especially because some of you guys like to give me a lot of crap about my Mass Effect glamour that I use on my gun breaker, but I love the late Allegan set. It's awesome. So if you like glamour, you're going to have more space for your stuff. If you like the changes to the duty support system that came in 6.1, they're working through that again. We're now going to get some Heavensward content where you can bring more duty support members along with you. That includes Izel, Estinian, Alphino. They'll be able to support you during the Heavensward chapters of certain dungeons. I thought this was a really cool feature. I like running with the NPCs because of the extra dialogue that you get. I did every dungeon first in Endwalker with the NPCs, so I'm definitely going to have to go back and play it with these party members. The last two things I want to mention, I think, are going to be huge time sinks for some of you guys, and I hope one of them in particular is for me. That's this variant Criterion Dungeon that the development team have talked about. This seems to be their answer for smaller group, possibly in-game tiered content, that the difficulty alters around the number of people that you have with you. Roles are not locked in this dungeon. Now, it's meant to be, they described it as casual play for level 90 players. And enemy strength is going to be determined by how many people you bring with you, and a bunch of other different routes to get you through this dungeon. You know, if they execute this well, this could be really interesting. And this, like I said before, this could be something a lot of players can sink their teeth into. This sounds fun for me, as long as it's not super monotonous and really tedious and streamlined and kind of boring. You know, I don't want it to get repetitive is the word I'm looking for. I don't want it to get super repetitive. So if they execute this in the right way, I think it could be really, really cool. But this is one I'm super excited to try. They didn't show us any footage of this, but I know just from talking to so many of you guys in the comments and on Discord that you guys are going to be excited about island sanctuaries. So it's exactly what it sounds like. They're going to give you an island with a great degree of customization along with it. They talked about not having restrictions based on having crafting classes and gathering classes maxed out, so that shouldn't be something that holds you back. But they did discuss, you know, planting crops and using special tools for upkeep on your island, some really cool features along with, you know, letting your minions run around your island with you, letting them loose, which is pretty neat, as well as some other things. They did mention there will be some customization in terms of how it looks, but the way they worded it, it's not necessarily going to be the same way that you would decorate housing, for example. I don't think this is going to 100% be a substitute for that, but it is going to be a gathering place. You can bring your friends here. They mentioned that flying mounts will be accessible at some point. They're going to have an orchestrion there, so a lot of really cool features. The artwork for this is phenomenal, looks super comfy, gives me some, you know, some kind of Animal Crossing vibes a little bit. So this could be really, really cool. I can see some of you guys just spending tons and tons of hours isolated on your little island sanctuaries or having parties, you know, like people do in the housing districts on you know, various data centers. So I think this could be a really cool addition. So there's going to be a part 2 to this live letter where we're going to get an official trailer, we're going to get some gameplay, as well as some other things that we didn't get here. This was just kind of the precursor, the tip of the iceberg, but I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff here. So I want to know, what's your favorite feature that they teased that's coming out in patch 6.2? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy getting all the various lore discussions that come from this channel, as well as the little side videos here and there like this one, you should subscribe so you know when the next one comes out. And if you want to stay in touch with me and other members of the community, you can do that in our Discord. The link for that is in the description. Take care, warriors, and I'll see you next time.